This at 5:30.
So, Smokey, the Auburn head coaching job is finally open. We've talked about it. And I think one of the hot names around it, and has been Dan Lanning, the head coach at Oregon, who was just a year ago the defensive coordinator at Georgia. So, look, it makes sense that this guy was in the SEC. He was probably had an SEC job like Auburn been open a year ago. Auburn's probably in on him, for that gig. But he addressed it saying, the normal, look, he's not going anywhere. And, there's, people aren't always looking. The grass isn't always greener. And he said, in fact, the grass is damn green in Eugene, which it very much is. Somebody brought this up to me the other day, and I can't remember who. But I don't know why coaches ever leave Oregon. Because, one, it's a great place to be. And you've got a great fan base. You've got, a mega booster who loves the program.
Right.
You've got, all these things. And is not, I don't think Phil Knight's a tinkerer. I think he's just a
supporter.
And he's not one that, has you must bend to my will.
Like maybe Fertitta or... And I'm not saying he's a tinkerer, but he's heavily involved, like Jerry is with the Cowboys, that kind of thing.
He's not a tinkerer. He's not going to do that. Mostly because Nike is such a huge brand, he's got other fires to put out, and he needs Nike to be big at every school that they're involved with, not just Oregon. It's just Oregon's kind of fun for him. So if you look at the coaches who've left Oregon, and it's and one the first one I'll mention is finally started to come back around, but Chip Kelly. How long did it take for it to work out for him?
At Oregon or when he left? Oh, no, it didn't.
Yeah.
He's on his second Eagles, UCLA.
And 49ers, Eagles,
yeah.
So 2 NFL gigs didn't work out, and then now UCLA, he's got that back, but it took a long time, a decade really, for him to get
he had it made. He was a major reason why they were good. And then he kind of was become no different than maybe what Matt Rule's going to battle.
Okay, I'll throw the next one out. Well, the next one did not leave of his own accord. That was Mark Helfrich.
Right.
They let him go. Okay, after that, Willie Taggart.
Well, we know what happened there.
Okay, it's been bad at 2 spots for him now. He might lose his job this year.
Wait a minute. Remind me about how he left Oregon.
Florida State hired him.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So he didn't quit. He didn't get fired.
But he left.
He left. Okay.
Okay. And it might not be the same. There's a lot to do, but 45-3 against your biggest rival.
Right.
Mario Cristobal has now left Oregon. I'm just saying, Dan Lanning, stay there.
I thought I saw something where he said he is, and again, coaches say this, we know, and some of them you believe and some of them you don't, and the ones you believe sometimes you can't, and there's some you just really think that they're very real. That I don't think he wants to be one of those that just is chase the money. He's going to get paid plenty at Oregon.
Yeah, well, and again, why would you leave?
Well, it depends on where your heart is.
Yeah, but is his heart, he doesn't have anything to do with Auburn?
He could be, it's not, it wouldn't, I'm trying to think of who he could be if he was at Oregon and did really well and did that for 10 to 15 years.
Chip Kelly.
Yeah.
You could, there are, really well. You have a chance. USC and UCLA are leaving the conference. Now, you might follow them out the door soon enough.
At some point, yeah.
But for right now, you're not. You're about to, to me, Dan Lanning at Oregon is when everybody is like when Dave Aranda's name pops up.
Right.
Look, I get it that there's bigger places to be than Baylor.
Right.
But you also don't know a guy who, Dave Aranda's not a big personality guy. He's not bombastic. He's the opposite of all that. And if you just look at it, if you're a head coach at any team in the Big 12, especially one that's playing well right now and is building towards something, the 2 big brands in your conference are about to leave, and you're about to get 4 newbies who are varying levels of good. Look, I don't want to play UCF or Cincinnati or on any given week right now, but that doesn't mean that, throughout the whole thing that those rosters are ready for that. You're about to be at the top of the conference as it starts anew, right?
Right.
Why would you leave that to go rebuild somewhere? Because the money's the same right now, really.
Yeah.
Like when you really look at what you're doing and how schools can match, this is not, you're not leaving, like, for example, Dan Lanning going from Oregon to Auburn, the money would be Auburn beating it by a little bit, right? Like
$1 million or $2 million.
Yeah. But again, Oregon, all they have to do is call Phil, right?
Yeah.
And then, so that's negligible. So you're getting to a point in college football where you're at the level of, maybe the top 35 or 40 jobs.
At Oregon?
No, at any school where, like, of these top 35 or 40, their resources are committed to where you'll get what you want because they want to keep you, and they always negotiate against themselves. So why not stay where you're happy and not go chase something? Because what do you really...
But we say that about everybody.
Yeah.
And they always end up chasing it, whether it's eventually the NFL or it's someone who can give him $2 or $3 million more, even though Phil Knight's at Oregon. Phil Knight couldn't keep Cristobal.
Yeah.
Taggart left. Best thing that ever happened to him.
Yeah.
And then also, as well, Kelly left. Even with, here's Marco's Pizza. Marco's Pizza. Pizza lovers get it, delivering a couple of pizzas and a little something else on top of that. Hey, Jacob, have her come here for a second. This is live. Ask her to walk in for a second. Ma'am, I was going to give her an extra little bit more of a tip. Here you go. Come on in. Here you go. I already added a tip, but that's service. Thank you very much. Marco's Pizza. Bob Mock, pizza lovers get it. We appreciate that.
That's a good impromptu live spot there. I like that.
I have to send that to tell Bob Mock I did that. Thank you very much. Yeah, but they always we say that, but they chase it still because the agent wants him to go to get that extra $1 million or $2 million.
Also, though,
or 10.
Oregon, to me, is, I think you got to look. And I think 2020 should have changed our world changed for me in the way I look at a lot of things and like what's worth it to chase and what's worth it to think about and put your energy into and all that. When you have to sit around and, come up with a 3-hour talk show about sports when there's nobody playing sports, you have more time to think about like other things in the world when you're at your house and at the park across the street and nowhere else. So I do think that that's probably true for a lot of people. And Oregon right now is a way better place to be in almost every metric other than the conference than Auburn. Mm-hmm. And do you want to go to the craziest place in the conference just to go to the conference? I don't think that's worth it.
I think, again, it all just depends. Bill Snyder was going to go to Manhattan. He did go to Manhattan. He rebuilt Kansas State twice, but he never wanted to leave. You had Osborne and Lincoln. The Patriots, I think it was New England, who came after Chuck Fairbanks when he was at Oklahoma. They kind of nibbled on him a little bit, and he was good, but Barry Switzer was better, and he almost left. Can you imagine how that changed college football's history? But he was happy where he was. Darrell Royal in Austin, right?
I can tell you just now, and
I'm not like Bear Bryant went to Alabama from A&M, and those are old school guys. Most everybody leaves now.
Yeah, but. Look, we have a basketball coach here in Waco, and Scott Drew, who's made it his program. And there are times when you leave, but and I know that the resources aren't going to be the same. That's why everybody kind of wonders when it's going to be time for Matt Campbell, when he's going to hit his head on the ceiling, at Iowa State. But also, Matt Campbell's boss, Jamie Pollard, one of the best ADs in America.
Who's going to join us this week, along with K-State AD Gene Taylor? We'll have that news for you here in a moment. How about that?
Quality of life can't be overstated, I think, sometimes, especially when you talk about, if you're going to make $5 million or $6 million, I get that 6 is more than 5, but 5 is enough.
Yeah.
I mean,
You were the one getting the 6 rather than the 5?
No, but I'm just talking I would sacrifice if I was already making 5 a year and nobody was mad at me where I was at and rolling around and they came to me with 6. Now, if they came to me with 9, then I've got to be okay.
Well, they're not going to come with you with 6 if you're making 5.
Some of them would, though. Yeah. I mean, that's just
they
how
would
it is,
initially, but they're going to absolutely,
So, but if you're at to come, but even then, to a point, you're just getting stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, the difference between living a very comfortable life at $5 million and $9 million in this country is just stuff.
You may look at taxes. It's ego too now.
Yeah, it is. But to me, like,
why do you think that when Kirby Smart got and again the agents set up some of these contracts where even no matter what, if Kirby gets 9, Saban gets 10.
Yeah.
If Saban gets 10, Kirby probably gets then 11, and he's about to perhaps even earn all that if he hadn't already. There's also those little clauses and kick-ins and things that are part of the. Oh man, I hope Lanning stays in Oregon long term, has great success, brings him back to the elite. He's trying to do it right now. They're right on the cusp. It's not over, but they sure have overcome that just debilitating loss to Georgia to open up the season.
No, they'd have to. If I was Dan Lanning to leave Oregon and go to Auburn, they'd have to double my salary. Double it.
What do you think he's making at Oregon? 5, 6?
Yeah,
something like that. First time head coach though.
Yeah, between probably 4 and 6, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the going rate for a head coach. Is probably $4 million on the low end right now.
All right, so a couple.
And this is a guy who was the defensive coordinator of one of the greatest defenses to ever defense in the history of college football.
Yes.
So
yes, Logan.